Y'all hear that? That's the sound of a chicken laying its first egg, and it's about time. Seriously, it's been brought to my attention that my garden needs some improvement, so why don't we talk about that? Figure today is a good day to kind of go over my plan that I have set into place to improve my garden and make changes over time. But I got a comment recently from @MassRiver, and basically it said, your garden needs improvement. I mean, you're not wrong, but I do want to say this, and I want to just make it very, very clear. This is a positive space. Saying something like that does not help me or any other gardener. I couldn't imagine going to another gardener's place and being like, you know what, your garden just needs attention. It's just not good enough. It's just not appropriate. So, you know, you guys can say anything you want, and I truly do appreciate all of the comments and all the discussions that people have and I have with you. It's great. I love it. This is why I do it. I love that everybody learns from each other, but I'm not going to tolerate that stuff, okay? And the problem that I took about it personally is that you insulted my intelligence enough to where you think I don't know that parts of my garden need attention. And that's fine, because what I've done is I've set in a plan of action over the past couple years to meet a 5-year plan to improve this garden space and get it to the production that we want. So this is an active working farm. And I actually don't know if you can call it a farm or not, but you know, we've got chickens, we've got bees, we've got gardens here, and we've got gardens there, and we've got just a bunch of things going on here. And it's a working place. I don't really set this up for aesthetic beauty. The beauty to me comes in the plants and the design and stuff like that, and the production. I want to hone in on that last word, the production, because that's what I'm all about in my space. I'm all about the production. I do this so I can produce food, and I can produce a lot of it, in which we do. Now, that being said, we do have a plan, and that plan, it kind of, there's like it's like the tide. There's an ebb and flow to it. All right. So, you know, we were blessed a couple years ago to receive this greenhouse. That was not expected. That has been a huge change, but that takes my attention away from other places. And I'm okay with that because it's a productive place. You know, it's definitely added production in a time when we normally couldn't have it. You know, this year, or actually not this year, 2 years ago, since we had the greenhouse, we decided to put in another garden bed. And just adding that garden bed made a huge difference. And then I needed to figure out how to manage watering all of these individual spaces efficiently and, you know, be a steward of our planet and water wise. And so then we had to take our attention away from something else and then do the in-ground watering system. You know, we put the drip lines in all the beds, which has been great. And I'm going to do a video about that later and even expand upon it more. But it's been a huge blessing to do that. And I'm really glad that I took that project on. But again, that was just another step. I can't imagine how, I can't even, not imagine. I can't even express to you how many hours I tried to figure out overhead watering efficiently. And when I finally just came to the conclusion that it wasn't working and we changed, everything started to click. And so this year we wanted to take a break off of expansion. I wanted to figure this out, hone it in, get it right, get it productive, get it working a little bit better. And so for the main part of our garden, which is this part, that's what we've done. You can see this year, we're going to add 2 more beds in. That's the plan so far. Maybe 1, but more than likely 2. And we're also going to end up putting in another cattle panel on the other side and just kind of build this tunnel out. So that's what we have going on here. We're raising a couple more baby chicks. And so you can see they're just out here cleaning up the grass, doing everything. This chicken right here, that's Flapper. She will fly at your face and fly all around. She has got a crazy mohawk. There's this expansion mode that we're doing. So once we clear this out, then we'll move to the next spot, clear it out, build the garden beds out, put in another thing, you know, another arch, and then kind of build out from there. So as far as the main part of the garden goes, that's something that we kind of had in our plan at some point. We wanted to see if there was a reason to actually expand, and in fact there is. We want to produce just a little bit more and get a little bit more going. So we did that. And then back over here in the wild garden, when we come over here, this space has always just kind of been jacked up. I mean, you can see that it was literally cut out of the woods. We had a bad hurricane and it basically took all the trees down right here. We had a tree fall. We had a couple trees fall in our yard, but this one in particular kind of took out this area. So we carved out a space and it's been a real uphill battle. It's been a real struggle keeping this section growing and keeping the weeds down, and we're starting to get on top of it. And this takes multiple years sometimes. So, you know, last year we added in these raised beds, which has made a huge difference. And you can see this year we're working on this section here. Just piece it together piece by piece. Because I mean, who's got time to just up one day, get a tractor, pull everything up and just start making all of these beds and these spaces just absolutely pristine? That's just not something that I have time to do. Between making YouTube videos, recording the Backyard Gardens podcast, any other film gardening stuff that I have on the side, and then managing all of this, it gets to be a lot. But we have it, you know, what we think we have it figured out. We're not real sure. And so this year we enacted another part of our plan. And so the other part, this was a big one. And once I started reading about it, I knew that it was going to take time. And we were willing to take that time. We wanted to start raising bees. So, you know, we had to take time out for that. Now, little did I know it was going to take a little bit more time, but this was part of it. You know, another way to monetarily get this area functioning throughout the garden to help fund the other things that we do and to fund our lives. Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, YouTube don't pay nothing barely. So it's a tough road. And I do this because I like to inspire people. I want to tell my story about my garden. And if you follow me over a period of time, you will see how my garden changes year after year, season after season, day after day. And that's what I really want to do. You know, when I show in my garden, I never would call out another creator. But what I show in my gardens, I show you the good, the bad, and the absolute ugliest part of it. I don't hide anything. If you were to come to my garden right now, walk back here, nothing would look out of place to you. If you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you'd know exactly what's going on in my garden for the most part. Some things may slip through the cracks, but I believe that showing you my pitfalls and my struggles will ultimately maybe help you either figure out your struggle or avoid it completely. And that's my goal. So it's like I just drip information on you guys as much as I can. And the best way that I can do that through YouTube is by doing, you know, piece by piece, just building out my garden, living my life. And that's kind of what we want to do. So the bees, back to the bees, have kind of spurred another part of this whole scenario. I have this area right here. I'm gonna kind of stand back so I can do this quickly. The area behind the garden beds, that's just kind of bare. It doesn't get a whole lot of sun. And then we have this little patch right here, all of this. And then if you've been watching for any amount of time recently, you know I'm doing this pollinator garden build on a budget. And so this whole area, and there's even another area back here that I don't really show much just because there's no reason to, by the chickens. So these are all areas that we've designated to build as flower beds. Now I never take you guys to my front yard because honestly there's not much to show or see or do, but we spent last year building that out. And so I wanted to build out these other flower beds over the years to come, and I didn't really have a direction. I'm not the best flower gardener, never claimed to be. And I can tell you this, compared to vegetables, it is incredibly difficult because you've got to worry about the amounts of sun and you've got to worry about temperatures and stuff like that. Vegetables to me are a lot easier because it's like give it sun, keep it watered, and you basically can grow. But when it comes to flowers, it's a little bit different. So I didn't really know what to do. Then we got the bees, and that kind of spurred me to say, like, hey, how can I help my bees out along with the other pollinators in my area? And that's by planting. So we slowly, year after year, come in and we add pieces and parts. I'm gonna take you to this one garden section right here, and it's super overgrown. So this area right here, and actually this area here is where we wanted to put the container garden this year, and it did okay, but I don't like it here. So we're gonna pull all of that out, and we're gonna turn all of this into a flower section, and we're gonna go for wildflowers in this area, just a simple planting of wildflowers that will grow, and the goal is for them to reseed. Now I've come in here over the years and put a couple things in, and being that this was cut out of the woods just maybe 3 years ago, we still are fighting weeds piece by piece, and it's getting better. But you can see back here how we have all of this crabgrass and stuff. So once we pull that out, we've got to plant something in its place to try and over-compete with the weeds. That's the plan moving forward for next year. Is I've got my feeding down, I've got my watering down, I've got, basically I've got a handle on my main garden. My wild garden, I'm figuring out, but it's getting to where it needs to be at this point, and it just needs to I need time. You know what I mean? I don't want to pull the soil out and put it back in and all that stuff, so I just need time to get it through. So we can build these out. Now that we've got a watering system in place, it's no big deal just to add some more to it. So if I don't have, and I'll get into this when I go to build, because I'll definitely talk about the drip system that I built and show you how I'm going to add it to the bed. But if I don't have enough pressure coming in from the main garden, I can always come from the side garden. I'm going to have plenty of pressure on this side. So if I wanted to continue to build more and more gardens, then I can just run water from there, but that's here or there. But that's been a big issue for me. And then coming back into those flower beds, we have to wait for the summer to kind of just come to an end. It gets it's oppressive right now. I walked outside, I was actually really shocked about how humid it was to be in September. And I think today's high is 95 or 4 degrees. And I honestly believe it. So I don't really want to go out and work in that. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna record this video, do my part, go in, get it uploaded for you guys, and then move on with my life. But I've got to take these sections and just build them out, and I do it slowly, because what I've done in the past, and you can see directly when you look at those garden beds, what I've done is I've come out here and I've built this out, and I'll add a couple plants over on this side, and then I'll add a couple plants on that side, and then I may add a couple plants somewhere else. Maybe back here I've tried to add a couple. And I'm thinking in my head that I'm making a very small investment in spreading it out, when in fact what I've been doing is creating a problem for myself by not having this done and then moving to this and then moving to the next thing. So by doing all of this piece by piece by piece, I've actually set myself back by about a year. So moving forward, we're going to do that, and that's why this wildflower thing's really worked out well, conceptually well in my mind so far, is because I can seed that whole area and all of the other area all at the same time. And then we can kind of get a handle of it a little bit better, especially by using annuals. Now this project over here, this pollinator garden project that we're working on, it's definitely going to be, it's a special case because I wanted to do it for YouTube just to kind of test to see how much I could spend, how little I could spend to do it. But it's something that we want to do. So as far as my main garden, does it need improvements? No, I don't think it does. I think it looks exactly the way I want it to. It produces just fine. We're putting food back for the summer and for the winter, and we have a 1 month jump start on all of our others. In fact, you can see that we had to readjust our shades so we get the afternoon shade busted or blocked. So we're definitely doing a little bit better that way. And I think this is great. Remember this, your garden is your space and you can do exactly what you want in it, and nobody should ever tell you any different. You can come on here and you can talk bad about my garden, but don't talk bad about somebody else's garden, and you're gonna get banned from the channel because straight up, there's channel guidelines, and it's be respectful. And if you don't show respect, you don't get it. So I really want everybody to enjoy gardening, and criticizing somebody else's garden, that's not for them. You don't know what's going on in somebody's life. I don't know what's going on in your life as you watch this. I hope it's going well, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. But it's your garden, and you have the right to do whatever you want in your garden and have it look the way you want. And if I'm harvesting enough to feed my family, we're good to go. You know, think about a plan for yourself. Think about it. And it's okay if you hit hiccups and you hit roadblocks and you change your mind and it gets extended. If you're somewhere long term, fine. Move, you know, just work through it. If you're somewhere transitional and you're at a house you're renting but you have a garden, use that time to kind of think about your next garden and how you can go ahead and get a jump start on the next garden, and then make that plan in the future. And that's going to make you much better at what you're doing and produce more. And that's what this channel is all about. So everybody, have a good day.